Welcome back to Favorite Tip Friday. This is a series where I reach out to contributors from all over the author community and I get their top tips on the subject of the week. This week's subject, passion versus profit. If you're not passionate about your work, how are you going to create something that's good quality that the customers will enjoy? But that said, if you're not making a profit, how can you afford to continue to create books? It's a bit of the chicken and the egg kind of scenario. So which is more important to you, passion or profit? Let me know down in the comments. And with that, let's get to the contributors.
So, what's more important, passion or profit? Well, if we're talking about this within the context of business, then I would say you got to have both. I think they go hand in hand. If you don't love what you're doing, I think you're going to find it very difficult to sustain a business long term, especially during those periods of demotivation, which obviously we all go through. If you don't love what you're doing, then it's really hard to get through those periods. You gotta love it. If you don't, you will stop doing it eventually, and then you're kind of screwed. Profit, I think if you're not focused on profit, and if profit is just not something that's important to you, then you don't have a business. You've got a hobby, and that's totally fine. If we're talking about hobbies here, then obviously passion is much, much more important than profit. But for me personally, I've got to have both. I've got to have passion and I've got to have profit. They go together hand in hand.
Which is more important, passion or profit? Well, I got to say it's passion, and here's my answer to this in a way that maybe other people may not talk about. Profit is great. And if you are good with business, then profit can be better because you can invest that back into your business to create more advantages for yourself. But here's the problem. Everybody who jumps into writing wants to make money, and they want to make money yesterday. And what happens is they end up choosing profit over passion, and they write books that they're not passionate about. And when that happens, that leads to burnout. And I'm going to see how many times I can rhyme in a sentence, but I'm not going to do that. But when you burn out, then everything you did is for nothing. And when I say burn out, I mean you cannot physically bring yourself to even think about writing. To me, if that's where you end up, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. So passion is more important because I believe I would much rather blaze my own career and do things my way, to quote Frank Sinatra, because when I do it that way, I'll get there where I want to go and I'll stay there, as opposed to chasing the money and never truly being happy. That's Michael Laron's perspective on all of this. But if you ask me about passion versus profit, I'm going to pick passion every time because I know I can win. When I'm passionate, I know that's when readers are going to be the most engaged with my work. And that's exactly how I want them.
Hey Keith, thanks for having me on your channel. Honored to be here. Passion versus profit. Which one is more important? Let's take a look at both and see what conclusions we can draw from that. Passion for me means I feel good about what I do. I enjoy the process of what I do, and it brings me happiness. Profit, on the other hand, to me, means you can provide for yourself and your family, but the downside is you may not be happy. My aim is to try and strike a balance between profit and passion. The first thing that needs to be taken care of for me is to be able to have enough to provide for myself and my family, followed by enjoying my job or the business that I'm working in. If I had to choose, I would definitely put profit first in order to provide for myself and my family. And once that's sorted out, I will aim to pursue a passion of mine that hopefully generates enough income to replace the job or business that I do not enjoy, such that I can still provide for my family and be happy. And that's my 2 cents on the passion versus profit debate.
Like I said earlier, it's a bit of the chicken and the egg scenario. If you don't make profit, well, then you may not be able to afford to do what you're passionate about. But if you're not enjoying what you're doing, it may be best to move on to something that you enjoy more. Let's be honest, there are plenty of things that we have to do in this life that are a chore. Self-publishing books shouldn't be one of them. So with no reservations, I'd have to say that my number one is passion. If you don't like it, then don't do it. Life is too short to not be doing something that you enjoy. Also, when you really love what you're doing, that passion shows through in the products you create, whether that's writing a better book if you're an author, or creating a better interior if you're self-publishing no content or low content books. Now, if you're passionate about a couple different genres, and you find out that one of them is more profitable, well, then yeah, the business sense says to go towards the one that you're passionate about and that's profitable. But number one, passion. Now with that, let's keep it moving.
Hey guys, this is WC Wrights, and I'm going to tell you which I think is more important, passion or profit. Now, if we're going into the realm of published authors, people who are telling a story to an audience, depending on where you are in your author journey, you're going to want to get money in order to continue to write, but also like have the passion in order to continue to write. You need kind of both. If you're at the very beginning of your author journey, you need to be able to have attention and money. So attention means that people want to read your stuff. They want to read the stories that you're telling. And money means that they want to continue to read the stories that you're telling. Because if you don't have those two things, you'll probably die inside. You're just putting out stories that nobody wants, you know? If you have enough eyes and enough money coming into you because of the stories you're telling, eventually, if the stories you're telling aren't the ones that you wanted to tell in the first place, you don't have to rely on telling those kind of stories all the time. You can start telling the stories that you want to tell in the moment that you want to tell it. It doesn't have to be according to market needs or to current trends or to what will sell. It can just be to those people who need to read the story that you're going to put out there. And so I think that you need both, but depending on where you are in your journey will depend on which one you're going to focus more on. So those are my thoughts on which is more important, passion or profit.
Oh, Keith Wheeler, I see you over there. That's a signature Dale Roberts thing right there back in the day. Usually whenever I ask guests the passion versus profit thing, if you had a choice to pick between passion or profit, which one would it be? And it's always funny to get all the different answers because there's no wrong answer. It's just how you feel. But a lot of people would be surprised to know that I lean a little bit more in favor of what Chris Fox has said before, that passion sometimes just won't pay the bills. It won't help to give you a sustainable lifestyle. So sometimes you got to treat it like a 9-to-5 job. You got to do some of the dirty work and do some of the things you don't necessarily want to do. And that includes, of course, going for profit. And so writing to market's a great example. When you want to write to market, you see a niche, maybe you're semi-familiar with it or you're a slight fan of it, but it's not your normal thing. But you know if you write in this particular niche, it will provide some type of income. That income then that comes from that project can help fund future projects that are passion-based. Because the fact of the matter is, sometimes your passion's not going to be enough to pay the bills immediately. If you've got the discretionary expense and the time to pursue your passion, then by all means, go for that. So let's say you've got a nest egg of like, say, $100,000 in the bank, and you say, okay, I need that for the next 2 years. So you give yourself a window of time to pursue that passion. And if it's not up in that 2 years, you're in some real trouble. Whereas if you have that safety net and you go for profit initially, at least you have some buffer room. It buys you some time. So that way you can kind of strategize on how you want to put your passion-based stuff out there. So I'm going to say profit.
Once again, I want to thank all my contributors this week. Make sure that you check out their channels down in the description below. And if you agreed with any of the contributors, make sure that you smash that like button to let me know you want to continue to see Favorite Tip Friday kind of videos. It also lets YouTube know that this is the kind of video that they should share with other authors. Now, did you see that interview that I did with MK Williams recently, where she gave us some great tips on how to still publish books while being a new mom? And she gave some great tips on how new moms and just parents in general can still publish books while being a parent. If you haven't seen it, check it out right there. It's an amazing video. But if you've already seen that, then you can check out this video right here that YouTube says is perfect for you. I'll catch you in one of those videos, and remember to write right.